Welcome to the fourth installation of the TouchStarved series by Picasso. Prior warning, it is a mature content game storyline, so expect more of the sort of gory, and if you're not of age, kindly about maybe. Alright, we'll be continuing from here. Welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, or will be having a wonderful day, or had a wonderful day. I'm gonna shut up now so we can get on with this. Whew. This is the fourth installation. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. The soulless. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ice had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the soulless spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tamed soulless being one of them. My head spins, and maybe I should call it a day. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The same city, labyrinthine, I don't know which way it's pronounced, even in daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something is wrong. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. I thought I keep my eyes sharp and listen. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts came screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark and indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spill from pallid fresh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I just can't stand there. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils, every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run! I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing buzz splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out, a duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way. A dead end. When I turn around, the soulless looms in the entryway of the alley. There is no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Try the nearest door. I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push. I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side, and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. I warily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Moonlit slivers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood, and the soulless, my eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to this misshapen form behind him. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well? I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part, on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realized that I saw their hooded silhouette at the cenobium. You were at the cenobium. I've seen you before. You were at the cenobium earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me. Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Picasso. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses, their blade flashes as they drive it into the base of the soulless' skull, right between the cervical vertebrae. The soulless trashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper, until there is a sickening crunch and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. They struck with surgical precision. Their quick, clean movements are familiar. Are you a scientist? Min stops mid-motion, lifting their head to stare at me. You knew exactly where to strike. Have you studied anatomy or medicine? Not quite. Why is the soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows. They sheath their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing, but there's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Picasso? I turn, surprised by the voice. Kuras walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. I didn't know you had friends, Min. I don't. Freelance work is dangerous, and Kuras is a doctor. That's all. Picasso needs to get back to wherever they're staying before they wander into the jaws of another soulless. It's late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Picasso? I'm staying at the Wet Wick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? That gaudy cesspit. Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Kuras leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Kuras is the only doctor worth her damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Kuras hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route Kuras takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city has poured into the Amaryllis district. Colorful streets, laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. It's amusing. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kuras stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me? The crowd parts as though answering his request. Kuras glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Kuras at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of green magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ice leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents magically congealed stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Bear, perched on the bar's counter beside Ice, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Bear's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ice offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ice just snickers. Coward. You don't tell me you're actually, in one fluid motion, Ice throws his head back and downs the shot, drinking that. A dark look crosses Ice's face. It's Chewy. Chewy, wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Kuras and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Kuras sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Kuras's hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of these people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Ice, another drinking competition, I assume? Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Kuras acknowledges Leander, and Ice with the slightest nod, ignoring Ver entirely. Not that Ver seems to mind. He tilts his head, and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Kuras. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Ver with a cool look. I thought Eyes wasn't allowed to bring his pets here. Bear's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sight of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides in between Ice and Kuras. Now, let's try and keep the peace, as not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Kuras's shoulders. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Kuras? I'm afraid not. We're merely escorting Picasso back to their lodgings. Kuras gestures in my direction, and my stomach stinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Picasso, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Picasso. They're new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fixed onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. I'm amused. Hi. Again. Hi, everyone again. Again? Wait, you've already met everyone? Eyes and Bear level me with subtly amused expressions. Bear's tail gives a lazy wag. We did, not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect. They're stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. I'm so amused by this. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I felt a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Haha, well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Picasso. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here, last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues, unperturbed. Let's toast to Picasso's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Kuras politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Vera looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Vera pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look, unbothered or uninterested in his company. Eyes can't his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? Didn't I say I'd buy you a drink earlier? No, my treat. Eyes regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Picasso? I'll take that drink. I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you've tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ice, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were chewy, probably poisoned too. He considers his own drink a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble. Vera clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Were I you, I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. He fans his finger over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake in the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly, speckled jerky that I can assume is nut leather. What is with the food in the city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible. Ice makes a measured sip of his drink. I gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. Oh my. I eye the drink suspiciously. It better not be another disgusting concoction of Leander's. Relax, it's just a local specialty. Plum gin. Although, if you're feeling more adventurous, I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. Alright, everyone, let's toast. May Picasso stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Ice, and Bear raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arm and Kuras watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edge of my vision. The next fades the din of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Picasso? I'm guessing you met Kuras first. It would be more accurate to say that I found them. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor, although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Picasso was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Kuras's disappointment, and catch Vera snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Kuras isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease, without so much looking his way. As reliable as A.R. Moody. You're the one to talk, considering you neglected to warn them to stay off the streets at night. I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Eyes, and their lips twist. Eyes is too busy nodding along to Vera's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice, lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Kura share a brief look, then the doctor speaks up. Very well, there is something that I must discuss with Leander, if you'll excuse us, Picasso. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. Or so I think until I hear a voice so soft and low it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Kuras and Min. 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Vera has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand. His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside his and Eyes, but I hesitate. The smile Vera wears is sweet and distinctly shy, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Eyes will mess with me next. We don't fight. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Vera suddenly stumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Eyes sets his hand on Vera's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh, Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot? I'll start. The game's... Ooh, my nose. The name's Ver, Hunter Extraordinaire. Ver's right hand flutters to his chest and he bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Eyes doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. You already know my name. I'm certain you already know my name. Hard not to when Leander shouts it every other second. Ver tips back his head and drains the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Picasso. Says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. Eyes smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp cat-like eyes keep me on edge, something about this tension is fun. It must be the gin. A flash of white over Eyes' shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Kuras heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Vera hums and wags his finger at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone. But just as I'm nearing Kuras... Ugh! I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking Jen. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can get close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat. when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes back face to face with eyes. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. I's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, Ice, take it outside! Ignore them, everyone, look, drinks are on me! Oh, I didn't know that. With those 4 words, the wick erupts with hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ice vanishes out back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Kuras lingers near the door, searching a suspect for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up as tight as they slip out the door, while Ver leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize there is no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. Oh. Who do I pick? Go with Ice. He did save me. Morbid curiosity draws me after Ice. I slink out the back of the wet wick. The alley is dead silent. Not really what I expected from a fight. I think we should stop here. I think we should stop here because, well, it's a good place to stop. We'll find out who I pick next in the next installation. I hope everyone has had a great time. If you have any recommendations for my pronunciation of labyrinthine, please leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. And until next time, toodaloos!